Good morning, class. I hope you enjoyed Morning in the Woods. We are going to do a quick Fonctus and Pinnell lesson, and we're going to be focusing on setting. Today's learning objective, evaluate the significance of setting in a story. So significance meaning, how does it add to the story, or does it add to the story at all? And these are some questions that we're going to be answering here through the lens of two books we've read recently. Number one, Rikki Tikki Tavi. And the second book, which we completed just recently, our latest book, Morning on the Woods. So here's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at those two books and their settings. We're going to answer the question, are they important to the story? Why or why not? So let's take a look at our first book, Rikki Tikki Tavi. Let's think about the setting for a moment. What do you remember about the setting? Our two key questions to help evaluate the setting in Rikki Tikki Tavi is where and when. So, our questions are where. The setting took place in a family house and yard in the country of India. When, we don't really know, but it was probably in recent times. Now, are the answers to these questions important to the story? Let's start first with where. A family's house / yard in India. Is that important? Why or why not? What do you think? Well, the answer is yes. It's very important. Why? Because the animals in this story, like the mongoose, right, Rikki Tikki Tavi or Rikki Tikki, right, the cobras, they live in India, right? This story could not happen in Colorado because mongoose and cobras are not native to the area. So yes, that's really important. Let's answer this question. When? One day in recent times. We don't know when this story took place. It was probably in the past based on the way the characters were dressed, but it was relatively recent. Is that important to the story? Well, no. This story could have happened 100 years ago, today, or 10 years from now in India. So that's not really important. So let's evaluate these same questions, but we're going to be looking at the setting of Morning on the Lake. So, where? Give me a moment while I move my camera. Where? Morning on the Lake took place in an area in the northern wilderness with a lake. When? Again, not too long ago. If we think back to the characters that we saw, they seem like they could be living today, or maybe a few years ago, or maybe a few years in the future. Okay? So, let's answer the first question. An area in the northern wilderness with a lake. Is that important to the story? Yes or no? Why or why not? What do you think? Well, for the same answer as Rikki Tikki Tavi, the answer is yes. Right? Why is the answer yes? Well, you need a setting with a lake, forest. What else do we have there? Trees, wolves, eagles, etc. Right? This particular story could not take place in the Sahara Desert, for example, right? Because in the desert, we don't have lakes, forests, trees, wolves, or eagles. So in this case, where it takes place is important. Now, could it be in a southern wilderness? Absolutely. But it does need to be somewhere where there's a wilderness and a lake with these native trees and animals present. Does it matter when it took place? Does the message change if this story took place today, 10 years ago? No. It does not. And really, for the same reasons here. Okay? Now, some of you might be asking yourselves, or maybe you're not, but once I mention it, you might say, that's a good question, Mr. Leroy. In both of these examples, the setting mattered. Can you give us an example from a book that we've read where the setting did not matter? In other words, The question to where is no. Do you guys remember in Crash? Does anybody remember where Crash's safe place was? He would go there with his sister and Scooter. Well, in case you forgot, their safe place was Scooter's bed. They would get in their pajamas and they'd go snuggle up with Scooter, and Scooter would share stories of when he was in the Navy, and all kinds of old stories from his life. And that's where he felt safe. Now, does it matter that it was in the bed? Absolutely not, right? So for me, our quality family time happens when we're on walks. For you, it might be quality time with family at the dinner table or somewhere else. So in that case, the setting wasn't really important. What was important is that family and Scooter, specifically along with Crash and his sister, had a safe place for them to connect as a family. So that would be an example where the answer to where is no. So as you're doing your choice reading today, if you're reading a fiction book, ask yourself, is the setting that my book is taking place in today, is that really important to the story? Or could whatever's happening happen somewhere else and it not really be that important? Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new interactive read aloud.